All right, so I clicked the record button, so we're good to go. Uh, I'm sat here today with WarDrums
Hello.
to talk some Hogwarts Legacy. Now, first of all, first and foremost, you should probably introduce yourself to the viewers and the listeners, and maybe even go into a little detail about how you got into speedrunning and then how you stumbled upon Hogwarts Legacy in particular.
Y- Yeah, sure. So my name is WarDrums, and I speedrun right now mainly Hogwarts Legacy, but I have ran other games in the past. How did I get into speedrunning? I think back in like 2013, 14-ish, when a lot of other people also got into speedrunning, I was playing some Portal 2 and somehow stumbled upon a speedrun on YouTube of it, and I was just like, holy damn, you can do that. And then I discovered GDQ, SGDQ, I think, of 2014, and
Mm-hmm.
just a whole new world opened for me in terms of gaming. And then I've speedrun a few different games on and off. Started really speedrunning in 2017 when I also just started streaming. Up until that point, I just been following the scene a little bit. I've speedrun a few indie games that you've probably never heard of. And then then I joined or I went to ESA in 18 and 19,
Hmm.
and then again in now here in 23. I went as well twice, and
Nice.
I'm going again in 24 or yeah 24, um, which I'm really stoked about. And then I've been looking forward to Hogwarts Legacy coming out, just playing it because I'm a huge Harry Potter fan and have been for many, many years. So just look forward to playing it in general. um, and I already before the game came out, I was like, this could be a cool new speed game, maybe. And it was.
Okay.
So yeah,
So personally, and I'm not sure about any of the viewers or the listeners, personally, I really haven't taken the time to watch a Hogwarts Legacy run from front to back. So, if you could take us through a run of Hogwarts Legacy, that would be very interesting. Just talk throughout the different points of the game.
sure thing. So there's a few categories, and the biggest or the one that most people have ran is the first day category, but it's like just a very very short
Mm-hmm.
run of like 35 minutes compared to the full 3.5 4 hour Ranrock Kill Ranrock, which is the end game boss, or the final boss, and
Which is comparable to any percent in other
yeah,
categories, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
In a lot of other categories, you would say, okay, end boss, that's 90%. But that's usually because the credits roll after you beat the final boss. But in Hogwarts Legacy, the credits don't roll until you finished your OWLs done taking your OWLs and the school year finishes, and then the credits roll. But the thing is, to access the end game and the last few quests and the final boss, you have to be level 24. But to finish finish any percent and do the OWLs, you need to be level 34, like 34, which
Ooh,
takes a
level
lot
requirements.
of yeah, exactly. It takes a
Fun.
lot of XP because, as a lot of other games with leveling systems, the XP scales, the XP requirements for each level scales. So it's exponentially much more XP you need to get for any percent. And it's very, very visible in the current world record times for each of the categories. Where Kill Ranrock, it's in story mode, is like 3.5 hours. Where any percent currently the world record is like 7 hours and 20 minutes. Um,
Oh, okay. So,
it has not been nearly as optimized at all, and we estimate that it can probably go to like at least 6.5, maybe below 6 hours,
mhm.
when properly optimized. But yeah, it's a lot more XP grinding. Um,
So that
but
that's kind of interesting. I actually didn't know that any percent and kill Ranrock were two different things.
yeah,
Um,
it is.
that kind of like reminds me of how Skyrim is. Like there's an any percent, and then there's like a main quest glitchless, and
Yeah.
I feel like Kill Ranrock and what's it called? Uh, Kill Ranrock and then main quest glitchless for Skyrim are like kind of similar in that regard. Um,
Mm,
so like in terms of like naming the category, um, so it has come to my attention that a couple of improvements were found recently. Could you
yes, indeed.
like could you take me like through how those were found, like what actually has been found, and how it's implemented in like Hogwarts Legacy in general?
Yeah, for sure. So we have two categories within each of the main categories. We have story mode and hard mode, like the two difficulties, two difficulty
Mm,
differences. Where in hard mode, you obviously have to play on hard mode for the entire run. Where story, you can play on any difficulty, because there's a few segments that are actually faster to quickly switch to hard mode and then switch back later.
oh,
But yeah, it's like one or two spots where it's faster. But yeah, some of the new or some of the discoveries or some of the amazing speed strats that we have. Very early on, there was found a few glitches. One of the biggest one I think is in like the third trial. There's 4 trials in total, and in the third one, you have this black and white cinematic kind of quest where you start out by doing a sneaking section, then a combat, and then just like a story section.
mm-hmm.
And in the sneaky section, it was found that if you uh, watch the first cutscene, then restart from last save, you are able to do a dash that you unlock fairly early, or not fairly early on, but like an hour into the run. You unlock a dash that is the fastest way to move on ground. Um, and it's so much, it saves a minute and a half over doing that section in the normal intended way by the developers. It
Okay.
has been patched out, but we play on an older patch, so that doesn't matter
Of course, it's
too
been
much.
patched out.
Yeah. And there's also a few other things that got patched out that makes it better to play on an older patch. Then we also found a what we call page glitch. It was initially called sound glitch because, well, it removed almost all of the sounds from the game. But it was much faster to play that way because it allowed the game to basically run in the background whenever you open up the menu. Normally, it would pause
Oh.
any character running or combat or whatever. It would just pause all of that. But with this, you allow the game to run in the background, and that includes cutscenes.
Ooh.
So if you enter a cutscene trigger and open up the menu with this glitch running, you are able to do gear management and skill talents and stuff like that during cutscenes that you can't normally skip. A lot of the cutscenes you can luckily skip by just by pressing the skip button. But a few of the cutscenes are hard coded to not be able to be skipped, so we can use those to actually do some of the more tedious menuing that would otherwise normally just lose your time. Um, we've since found a better or an earlier setup for it that takes like 10 seconds longer to do, but it retains all of the sounds, so it's just so much nicer to play
Okay.
with, and it comes even earlier in the run, so you have the glitch for longer.
Oh, okay.
You can utilize it, so it's very much worth it.
So was there anything else that was found recently, or
Yes,
uh,
so those were found fairly early on. Those glitches that I talked about just now, but like 3 weeks ago, I think it was, or actually a few months ago, we found out that sometimes the XP that you get from grabbing certain flying pages, you grab pages to get XP and fill
mhm.
up your
I've seen that before. I played through
yeah, yeah.
like the first like 5 minutes of Hogwarts Legacy, I think.
Mm.
Mainly because my laptop sucks, so I didn't buy the game. I didn't buy the game on release.
Mm.
So I played through a friend's I played through a friend's computer by the use of Parsec, and I don't really
Mm.
want to bother them the whole time. So so
That's fair.
that's why I've played and seen such little of Hogwarts Legacy. So it's very interesting to like hear you talk about a game that you're obviously very passionate about.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, so the way you get XP in the game is that you fill out the field guide, as it's called, and that you use most of the XP you get is from grabbing field guide pages, either by using Revelio on interesting objects like a suit of armor or a painting or something interesting in the world, or you can grab flying pages with Accio, and that just gives you some XP. And it was found fairly early on, a few months ago, that sometimes these flying pages would give you extra XP, like double XP or something, and we had no clue why. We tried different things to try and see if we could replicate it consistently, but nothing was really working. And then Diggs9 found out that if you go back and forth in a certain spot in Hogsmeade, um, you could over or like you could duplicate some flying pages multiple times. So instead of just giving double XP, you could have it giving 3 times, 4 times, five, basically how many times you would like XP, which is super useful for
Oh,
a game where you need a certain level
yeah,
to
but
progress.
where there's level
Yeah,
requirements, exactly, yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Um, so immediately, a couple of us tried to figure out exactly what was going on. First, we thought it had something to do with these chests that you would normally need to be invisible to open. They would do this animation where they get scared if they see you. So we thought it had something to do with that because that was the spot that Dix found. But we found out that it actually has something to do with loading in and deloading the flying pages and where they were. So whenever you loaded them in, it would basically load another instance of the page on top of it. At least that's what
Hmm.
we're theorizing and think that's how it happens. So we found a better spot where if you just like either dash back and forth or run circles over a specific spot, you enter and exit the kind of area where the page is, and it just duplicates. And there's a certain spot in Hogsmeade where it does that for 4 pages at once.
Ooh.
So you basically only need to do the loading and deloading of the pages like 13 times to get all of yeah XP worth for all of the pages in Hogsmeade, which is super useful. And then we also found a similar spot in Hogwarts where it does it for 3 pages, which is slightly more inconsistent. You can run back and forth, but it's a longer distance you have to run. It's not just one spot, it's basically a zone where you have to
Mm.
run further in and then run further out again for it to actually load and deload. Um, and for some reason sometimes it just doesn't work, which is super annoying when you have to do it like an hour and a half, 2 hours into the run.
Oh.
And it just doesn't work, and you can reset technically, or reset load from an earlier save, but then you lose a minute, 2 minutes easily,
Hmm.
which is super annoying. But we also found that you can stand in a spot close enough and then equip your broom or like jump onto your broom and then jump off the broom, and that also loads and deloads the pages because obviously you can't, or not obviously, but you can't cast spells while on the broom, which
Hmm.
means that there would never be an instance where you would be on the broom and wanting to accio a flying page. So most likely, I think at least, the developers, for optimization reasons, deloads any flying page when you are on the broom.
Mm.
So yeah, we can do that, and you do that for like 30-ish times, depending on how many pages you grab beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
There are some pages that you can grab without losing any time at all because it's during some kind of dialogue or a cutscene or something like that. Personally, I don't grab any because another reason, or one reason to not grab any pages beforehand, is that the higher level you are, the higher level enemies are, and
Mm-hmm.
the more health they have. So if you haven't been lucky enough to grab good gear, you will deal less damage. So it's less RNG dependent,
Okay.
kind of. That's at least, yeah. It was still fairly early on into the skip, or the trick discovery, so we haven't optimized it fully yet. But yeah, we'll see what ends up being the fastest way to do it, and when to actually grab the duplicated pages, and so on.
Mm-hmm. So how much time does this save for the Kill Rainrock run?
It's a little hard to estimate, but we think somewhere between 5 and 15 minutes, which I know is
Wow.
fairly big ballpark, but it's also a fairly significant time save. And it's the reason it's a little unclear is because a lot of the pages you would just grab, or a lot of the XP you would just grab along the way when you are there anyway. So it's a little hard to know. Okay, so grabbing this page, I went out of my way a little bit to grab it and then ran back. So that's about 6 seconds that took that to grab that page, and then this one takes like 8 seconds, and it's that like that all over the place. So it's a little hard to really know exactly how much, but we estimate around 10 minutes probably.
An uncertain and very exciting time actually. Like,
Oh, very. And if you look at the world record history, for especially hard mode, which is the most competitive right now because we have both me, Lily, and Dix
mm-hmm.
going for it, and it's been beaten quite a few times within the last like 3 weeks, and been brought down from a 343 to a 335 at the moment.
Ooh,
Um,
so between the last time we talked in DMs, you've improved the record again, or is it
Not me,
not?
unfortunately. No, Lily
Ah,
beat my world record 2 days ago.
I'm so
So
sorry.
yeah, no,
I
no,
just,
no, don't be sorry. This is exciting.
I just put you on. I just put you on blast like that. I was like, oh, like I came in here thinking you were
Nah,
still the world record holder, and then had to
yeah.
break your heart like that. I'm sorry.
No, I'm a minute and 14 seconds behind, which is not too bad.
In a
Can
three
easily
hour
be
run,
swept.
in a 3 hour
Yeah,
run, that's like nothing.
yeah, exactly. It's very very close between the three of us. And it's super exciting to be a part of, and I absolutely love it. This is one of my absolute favorite times in like my gaming career, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
of all time. Like this is so much fun and super exciting. The game is tough and can be very unforgiving when it comes to RNG.
As all open
Uh,
world games are.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Especially because a lot of the gear that you get is just random what you get,
Oh.
and you need quite a lot of specific items. You have a lot of instances where you can't get these items, but you still need them. Um, and there's a specific time when we buy the like top level gear that we need for the rest of the run. Around halfway into the run, we buy that, and we need good gear. And if the vendor that sells it does not have it, because again that's also random which items he has, but you have to reload a earlier save, and that easily loses 20 seconds whenever you have to do it, because you need to
Uh.
check all of his items and be sure that do some calculations as well, because they have stats and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the faster you calculate that, obviously, also can help you determine whether or not it's a good RNG spawn for the items. But it's definitely tough. Um, yeah.
So, what are your goals for the game?
Right now I think I want a sub 335, which is not far off. But
Definitely.
yeah, and could happen within the next week or so. Personally, and then I think I'm gonna at least put the category on hold for a little bit and probably vendor into the any percent category just to try and spice things up and keep the game fresh for myself because
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot different because you can only duplicate so many pages and we already get all of the duplicated pages you can get in Hogsmeade and Hogwarts, and you still need a little bit of extra XP on top of that to get to that level 24 that you need for the end game. Which also means that there is a ton of other stuff that you now need to do for any percent still. That you obviously did need to do beforehand anyway. You're just saving a lot of the time on the pages in Hogwarts and Hogsmeade. But you still need to do a lot of the other stuff. And that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be quite exciting to properly route that out. There is a rough route, but it's not optimized at all. And yeah, that's going to be exciting for me, I think.
Thanks for talking to me today. Um,
You're very much welcome.
I'm sorry about like the delays and whatnot. Um,
No worries, no worries.
so before we end off, is there anyone or anything you'd like to shout out?
Myself, obviously, I stream fairly often on Twitch, WarDrums underscore on Twitch, and I also upload on YouTube where you can find me. I think it's WarDrums Gaming. And then obviously also want to shout out both Lily X3 and Dix9, Dix9, who are so amazing, and they have discovered so many small tricks and also big tricks, obviously, in the game, and
Mm-hmm.
are amazing competitors. Absolutely love them to death for the super fun grind that we've been putting on. Definitely check those out as well.
All right. I think that about concludes our Hogwarts Legacy interview with WarDrums.